Back in 2012, the idea nationally was this Big Local programme. 150 areas of the country bid in to receive a part of National Lottery Community Fund money. And North Cleethorpes was successful, so we were very fortunate right back in 2012 to be part of that.
We applied through our local councils at the time, and luckily with Paulie's help and the two local councillors, we managed to get the £1 million to spend.
We began an exercise with the community, which was to find out what people thought of this area. We started that first event, met thousands of people, they fed back into the programme, and then we started on the Big Local journey. And that Big Local journey is a 10-year delivery. So we're about 8 years into this very long-term project. The flexibility of the Big Local programme meant that there wasn't a prescription as to what the money should be spent on. It was to be used by resident-led groups deciding their own priorities in their own locality. And if you were to review all the 150 projects across the country, what they have in common is that they've all been resident-led. They've all reacted to the needs of that community, and the community have decided what needs to be done. And in our area, we didn't have a prescription precisely, just that we needed to engage with the community and let the residents help us decide what direction we took. Some of the criteria when you're setting up a Big Local were to look at multiple deprivation criteria. Education levels might be lower, housing stock might be cheaper, opportunities for jobs are difficult in these areas. Every person who started the process off, they were all residents or people with a vested interest in the area. And the whole point was to set up a resident-led committee that was people who lived in the area and had buy-in. They wanted to see the area work. Right from the beginning, we had John Mooney was our original development worker on the programme. John was the development worker using the resources of Big Local to deliver on behalf of the committee. He worked for Vernell and was hosted by Vernell to be embedded with Big Local. The chair, Darren Linford, has been around right since the beginning. So the two of those would have led the initiative to work with the committee to write the plans based on what we were hearing from the residents, and those plans were what defined what we did going forward. One of the first things we tackled as a Big Local was the Sydney Sussex Recreation Ground Pavilion was out of use. That was refurbished, a lot of investment of cash, but also of volunteer hours, brought that back into use and handed it over to a community group to run, and it's been running for all those years since. So smaller projects happened in those early years. We did arts projects, we worked with schools. Later on, the building we're sat in now is the community centre at 82 Grimsby Road. That was the next building we bought a few years back. Again refurbished, a lot of volunteer hours, brought back into use for the community again.
This building has been a great help to us. It's a big legacy for us, because people can then drop in for a cup of tea and a biscuit and have a chat over what they want to do. One of my friends actually is Alan Johnson, who did all the work on this building, and he needs a big thank you for that.
We also supported a social enterprise to set up Moon on the Water. There was no arts venue in Cleethorpes properly, so Moon on the Water was the first stab at this. Again, we helped kickstart that. We didn't invest heavily in it, we didn't have to, it was mostly a supportive role, but that was a big major project that ran for a good few years. As the plan evolved, as the years went on, we started being clearer our thematic areas, let's say. So we were clear that we needed to help older people, we needed to help younger people, we needed to do some more on the arts, and the environment became a big theme. We always had the theme that we had to work in partnership. So it was always a big thing to work with local councillors, the policing teams, other charities in the areas. For example, in the youth provision, we realised there was a gap. There was no youth club in North Cleethorpes. So we started up the Hangout. That ran for a few years. Keeping older people safe is a big initiative we've been running. Working with the police, with Neighbourhood Watch, we work with them. Sometimes it's a case of Big Local just gives some seed funding to a group to get it through a project. We might just help a group with funding applications or promote their initiatives. So We don't always throw cash at an initiative. It is about helping residents do what they need to do, running projects that arise over time. The projects have been everything from the smallest. A group of residents might want their alley painted, tidied up, some activities for the kids. So we might throw a small amount of money at that sort of initiative. Some of them have been very major. On the Cleethorpes Station, the Cycle Hub building a few years back was brought back into use. That was a massive project, heritage money, council money. Big Local invested a small amount and we were able to put a accessibility ramp onto the station as a result of that. We helped with the Urban Arts Festival last year and again we're sponsoring that this year. One of the most interesting seed-funded projects was we kick-started Clee TV, a YouTube channel of videos produced about this area. We invested a small amount, but that has allowed Clee TV to blossom. It's received larger amounts of money from lottery funding. It now hosts a heritage TV channel in that. There's plenty of videos now appearing about the heritage of the area. That was an example of a thing that didn't exist, a small amount of investment from Big Local, and it moves on to being funded from elsewhere. So wherever we've made an impact, we hope the impact is even bigger than what we've invested. Well, COVID was obviously a major problem. We stopped being able to be out and about, we stopped being able to do face-to-face. It was a challenge for every community, and many Big Locals ceased doing anything at all. We tried to see what we could do. Over one issue was hardship. We were able to give out some hardship grants. We were also able to give some computers out to families so the kids could work from home better. We tried to react to what was going on. It came to our attention that things like musicians and artists were struggling in this period because they couldn't do gigs, for example. So we did seed fund Book the Band, and it was an opportunity to promote local artists, to give them the opportunity to say, we're out here, we need some work, support us. That worked. We managed to get lots of profiles and videos on there of local bands and individual singers and artists. We invented our Stay Safe guides for older people at the time. They went to print for the first time during lockdown. The very first issues of those were being handed to people in the vaccination queues by the police officers because they could go out and about and we couldn't. In about 18 months' time, Big Local officially comes to an end. It doesn't mean the programme's come to an end, but that will be the end of the funding. We'll have spent all the money and invested it. We're now looking in this last part of it as legacy. Some of the groups that we helped started will exist beyond. Some of the people we've helped will continue to survive beyond us. It is looking at that legacy of how we can leave a mark on the community. I think there will be lots of bits and pieces we've left across the community of North Cleethorpes that will carry on for many years after.